threw together our hospital bag. We actually didn't even have the car seat set up in the car yet. So we were literally taking the car seat out of the box and putting it together and doing all of that while I was like starting to have contractions. Everyone comes running in, the doctor, like 20 nurses. She's like, "Are you ready? Are you ready?" Doctor and the nurses, like everyone, they start like screaming and yelling and cheering. It was like a freaking football team. They're like, "Yeah, do it, yes, yes." And then my doctor's like, "What are you crying for?" It was just an intense thing. Hi, I'm Denise and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, then welcome. I'm glad that you found my channel and that you're interested, and I hope that you stay tuned for more of my content. If this is not your first time watching one of my videos, then welcome back. I'm glad that you're staying tuned and watching. In today's video, we're going to have story time. I'm going to be letting you guys know my labor and delivery story. I'm going to try not to make this too long, not try to give too many details to drag it on. So this is my labor and delivery story for my son that was born back in March. He's 18 months now, so he's getting super big. And I just want to tell the story before too much time goes past and I forget certain things, because that's what I heard. After you have your baby, you forget what it was like and what happens and all the pain and everything. But I still remember, so I'm gonna let you guys know my labor and delivery story. So let's get started. I had my son at 38 weeks, which is considered full term, so he was fine, he was healthy, everything was good. My contractions, or Braxton Hicks, I actually had them for 3 days before my son came. It was weird because my stomach was just getting hard and soft, on and off, but it wasn't painful, like it didn't hurt anything. It just felt consistent. So I was like, okay, well, the doctor said Braxton Hicks, it feels like contractions, but they're just false. So I was like, okay, so this is false. On the third day, I had dinner with my family, my in-laws and everything, and my husband proposed to me then. So I was like, okay, this is our engagement dinner. So at the engagement dinner, my stomach was still getting hard and soft, on and off throughout the whole entire night. So we go home. I started to actually feel like a little bit more pain on that evening when we went home. So I was like, oh my gosh, like what if we have the baby? The baby's not due for another 2 weeks. So I was like, okay, well, I had a doctor's appointment scheduled for the next morning. So I was like, okay, since I'm feeling this, I'll just wait for the doctor's appointment the very next day. Actually, it turned out that throughout the night, the pain started to increase a little bit, where when my stomach was getting hard and soft, on and off, I was actually having like a little bit of pain. It wasn't terrible pain, but it was just, you know, like my stomach was cramping. So I was like, oh man, I'm like, is the baby coming? What to do? Do we keep waiting? And then at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, you know what? Like, this really hurts. So let's just go to the hospital. And actually, when we were thinking about this, if we should go to the hospital, we threw together our hospital bag, what we should bring and what should have been on our list. I had been watching so many videos and looking up so many things to pack in the diaper bag, but I just never did it. Like, not smart. So if you're about to have a baby and you don't have your bag packed yet, pack your bag, get the hospital bag ready. I actually have a video out right now of my hospital bag, what's my bag. I'll link that video right up here, that way you guys can watch it. Definitely pack your bag on time. For us, we just threw the bag together. We only put a onesie in there and a sweater for my baby. Like, we had him in March, so it was cold, it was freezing, and we did a thing to put pants and socks in there. I don't know, first time parents, right? Yeah, that's what we did. We just threw together the bag. We actually didn't even have the car seat set up in the car yet, so we were literally taking the car seat out of the box and putting it together and trying to figure it out, doing all of that while I was like starting to have contractions. That was an interesting moment. Make sure you get all of your stuff together, that way you're not in our shoes when the baby's about to come. So yeah, we did that, got everything ready, went to the car, went to the hospital, hospital, called them, let them know. I got checked in, I was admitted, they checked me down there. I was 2 to 4 centimeters, I believe. And so they're like, yeah, we're gonna keep you. And I remember one of the nurses was like, oh, we see that you have a doctor's appointment today. Do you still want us to cancel that? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'm already here at the hospital. I'm about to have the baby. So yes, cancel the appointment, you know, like, come on. And like I said, to me, the contractions weren't that painful, like period cramps. Like, it just felt like painful period cramps. And that was it, really. Like, I just felt like I was on my period, except, you know, I was having a baby. But to me, that's what it feels like. So if you have like really bad cramps during your period, then that's what it feels like to have a baby. Some people it's worse, some people it's not that bad, but for me, that's what it felt like, just really strong period cramps. So while we're at the hospital, they just kept on checking me every now and then to see how many centimeters I was before the baby came. I also let them know that I didn't want the epidural. I actually wanted Pitocin, which I heard is a drug that goes in the IV and into your arm, and it's exactly the same as epidural except it goes in your arm. I believe you can still walk around and everything with that. Yeah, I told them that I wanted that. My doctor and the nurses were like, no, like, we recommend the epidural for you and that you should take it. You have low blood pressure at the moment, you were vomiting, so they were like, I should definitely just take the epidural. So that's what I did, took the epidural, and then more waiting. The doctor came in, she broke my water, I believe at 6 centimeters because my water didn't break on its own. But yeah, she broke my water, and then they told me to just let them know when I feel the urge to push, when I feel the urge down there. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I don't really know what she meant. So I was just sitting there waiting. Well, I know what she meant. She was waiting for me to feel like I had to go poop. So just sitting around waiting and waiting. I feel like I was waiting for a while. Like, I really didn't feel anything different. Hi again, it's me, Denise, just jumping in the middle of this video to see if you are liking this so far. If you do like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and you can hit the subscribe button that's right down over here. Hit that button and you will be notified every single time I upload more content. Okay, let's jump right back in. But then I'm like, oh, well, I feel a little something in my stomach, or I feel something down there. I'm like, I guess I feel the urge to push. I'm like, maybe that's what she was talking about. Told them, called the nurses, I feel the urge to push. And then like everyone comes running in, the doctor, like 20 nurses, maybe 10, maybe less than that. But like a lot of nurses come in and they're like, okay, like she checked me down there. She's like, okay, you are ready to push. And then she told me do a practice push. So she said do a really big push like you're about to poop. And I'm like, okay. So I just did it, grunted, did a push. She was like, wow, great, that was great. I'm like, okay, so I got this, so this was good. What I didn't know at the time was that you only push during the contractions. I didn't know that. I thought you just push and push until the baby comes out. But yeah, so we waited for me to push until I had another contraction. She was looking at the screen and she was like, oh, a contraction's coming, get ready to push. So I was like, okay. I braced myself and then I started to push. And right as I started to push, the doctor and the nurses, like everyone, they started like screaming and yelling and cheering. It was like a freaking football team. They're like, yeah, do it, yes, push, do it. And I was looking around like, what the freak? And I was staring at my husband like, what is going on? Like, why do they sound like that? Like, it was weird and it was intense. I was like, I don't know. It was unexpected. I didn't expect that. I was shocked. I was confused. I was like pushing and then like looking at them like, what the heck is going on? And then looking at my husband and still pushing at the same time. After the contraction was finished, I stopped and they're like, okay, like you can stop. And then it was quiet again. It was like, I don't know. It was the weirdest thing. And that happened like 3-4 times. For me, I felt like pushing was the hardest part because I felt like I was running out of air. Like I couldn't push for a really long time. I felt like I couldn't hold the push, if that makes sense. If you had a baby and you know what I mean, like I felt like it was really hard to, I don't know, to hold my breath and push at the same time. Like, and it was weird because some of the nurses were like, hold your breath while you push, and then other nurses were like, breathe. And I was like, what? I was like, do I hold my breath or do I breathe? Like, I don't know. It was so confusing. It was weird because I didn't know who to listen to. I was like, why are they chanting and screaming? Like, it was just an intense thing. So like I said, the pushing was the hardest part for me because I felt like I didn't have any air. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I felt like I wasn't doing a good job, to be honest. I don't know. I didn't know what I was doing. Like, it was my first time having a baby, so I was like, what's even going on? So like I said, did that 3-4 times, pushing on the contractions. I felt like I was running out of air. I felt like I couldn't do it. And then on one of the last pushes, I just stopped and I started crying. And then my doctor's like, what are you crying for? She's like, does it hurt? Do you have pain? I'm like, no, like it doesn't hurt. Like for me, I was crying because it was mad intense. Like all these people screaming, and then I felt like I couldn't breathe during the pushing. Like I felt like I couldn't push long enough. So I was just, I don't know, I was in the moment. So I just started crying. The doctor's like, okay, someone give her some water. Give her some water. I drank the water. She's like, okay, that's enough water. You don't want to throw up. I was like, are you being mean or are you being nice? Like, I don't know. It was so weird. So yeah, I was drinking water. Then she's like, okay, that's enough water. You don't want to throw up. I'm like, okay, fine. No more water. Thank you. She's like, are you ready? Are you ready? And then she told me to touch the baby's head. So she had me like reach down in between my legs and like touch the baby's head. It felt so weird, to be honest. But yeah, so I did that. Touched the baby's head while it was sticking out. And then that's when I was like, okay, so even though I feel like I can't breathe while I'm pushing, I'm just gonna push this time until I can't breathe anymore, until I feel like I'm gonna pass out, until like I can't do it. So I did that, took a deep breath during the last contraction, pushed and pushed and pushed until I couldn't breathe. Then the baby popped right out. He like flew into the doctor's arms and he was born at 3:40 in the afternoon. And then he started crying and everything, and then they brought him over to me, put him on my chest for a little. I'm looking at him like, oh my gosh, like the little alien thing. And then they took him, they cleaned him, they weighed him, they did all that and everything. And it was just like this crazy intense moment. While they were weighing him and everything, the doctor was like, okay, we're gonna remove the placenta now. I think she just like pulled it out or just told me to push a little bit. I know I've heard that the nurses have to push on your stomach to get the placenta out, but thank goodness they didn't have to do that. Like the doctor just did whatever she was doing and then it came out. I did want to see it, but I guess at the moment I forgot. Like I don't know why I want to look at it. I don't know. Or ahead of time I wanted to look at it, but then I forgot at the moment. But it's whatever. I don't know. I don't need to see it. But yeah, so she took that out and then she gave me like 2 or 3 stitches down there, some dissolvable stitches. That didn't really hurt either. Like I felt like a little pulling and tugging, but that didn't really hurt. Like for me, to be honest, it wasn't painful. Like it didn't really hurt. Like I said, the hardest thing was pushing, like feeling like I couldn't breathe while I was pushing. But to be honest, it wasn't painful at all. Like really wasn't. And then I know I had the epidural and that's most likely why, but it just felt like it wasn't painful. Even after the baby, like a few hours after when we got a room and everything, I still wasn't feeling much pain. Like not at all. Thank God I didn't have any pain at all. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Since we had him in the afternoon, we only slept in the hospital that night, and later on the next day we were able to go home. We weren't there for a long time, so the items that I brought with me I feel like were enough. Like I said, I have what I brought in my hospital bag video. I already have that video up so y'all can check that out on what I brought, and I feel like what I brought with me to the hospital was just enough. It was the bare minimum, what I needed, and I used everything. So yeah, make sure you check out that video. If you have questions about my labor and delivery story or anything about my experience, make sure you comment them down below. I'm definitely always answering your guys' questions and commenting on anything that you guys have to say, so definitely let me know about my story or want to hear more about my story or anything like that. Just let me know. That wraps it up for my labor and delivery story, on my experience, what it was like when I had them, the pain and everything like that. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up and comment down below what was your favorite part about this video. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe button. That's right down over here. hit that button. That way you can see more of me and my videos. Make sure you check down below in the description. That way you can see what products that I use in this video, and you can also see my top recommendations. Check out my newest playlist, which are my painting videos. My playlist is called Painting in Quarantine, Paint with Me. So if you're stuck at home in this quarantine like a lot of us are, you can just watch a video and tutorial and follow along right along with me, and we can paint together. So check it out and let me know what you think. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.